All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies class, I've been going through a series of presentations I've been creating based off of the Mozilla Developer Network Learn Web Development series. I'm in the Structuring the Web with HTML, and on there, the Introduction to HTML portion. In here, as you'll notice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lessons. So far I've done Introduction to HTML Overview, Getting Started with HTML, What's in the Head, and Text Fundamentals. I'm going to now do the Creating Hyperlinks. I'm going to do these next 4, and then we'll look at these to see whether or not we'll even go over them. Okay, so hyperlinks, as it says, it's what makes the web the web. So hyperlinks, it says, are one of the most exciting innovations the web has to offer. They've been with the web since the beginning, and they're what makes the web the web. All right, almost any web content can be converted into a link. So when you click it, you can go from one place to the other. Now, I've shown you a couple of these in our site that we've created. For instance, in our I Love Missouri site, this is a clickable image. So when you click on it, it brings you and it shows you in a new window the arch. This is some clickable text. Again, in another window, it brings you to Rankin Technical College's website. Now, to make this a little bit easier on myself, I'm going to come in here, and where we just put all this stuff in here about hummus, I'm going to get rid of it. You should see a big change in here now. So boom, it's back to looking the way it looked previously. All right. So as it says, a URL can point to another HTML file, to a text file, to an image, to a text document, to a video file, an audio file, or anything else, a PDF, for example. If the web browser doesn't know how to display or handle the file, it will ask you if you want to open the file or download it. All right, and they give some examples in here. I'm not going to run through this. Okay, anatomy of a link. A basic link, as it says, is developed or created by wrapping the text or other content inside of an A tag. A is short for anchor. Href is short for hypertext reference. All right, in other words, where do you want it to go? All right. So what I'm saying here is I'm creating a link to the Mozilla webpage. Let's just grab this so we can see what it looks like. It should look like that, exactly like that, but we'll double check just to be sure. So I'm going to put this back up on top before the picture we have in here of the arch. All right. And I'm going to change this to the, and I'm just going to put here Mozilla homepage. I like the way that reads a little bit better. Let's go back here, refresh, and I'm creating a link to the Mozilla homepage. If I click on it, boom, there it is. Now I don't have the target equal blank, so it literally, that's considered bad netiquette, which is internet etiquette. I should always open that up into a new page. So in other words, even though they probably haven't talked about it yet in here, I should come in here and say, I'm just going to put this on another line so you can read it. Target equals double quote underscore blank, like that. So now you'll note the difference in here. Doesn't look any different, but when I click on it, it has now opened it up in a new window. Here's my original window. Here's my new window, so I can go back and forth. Okay, all right. It says another attribute you may want to add to your links is title. As time is going on, it's becoming more important, more and more important, that when you create a website, you want to create it and make it viable make it viewable, and whatever viewable means, to anyone. That means anyone with any kind of a physical impairment. That means anyone who's deaf or blind or something else. Putting a title in there puts that little tooltip in there that, again, notice when I put this in here now, it says the best place to find more information about Mozilla's mission and how to contribute. So if we just add this title to what we had before, again, I could just copy the whole thing, but I'm just doing it kind of piecemealish to show you what's going on here. So I'm going to come down and put it here. And we'll put this, the Mozilla homepage, etc., on its own line. I'm going to save, come back to here, bring up our I Love Mo site again. Doesn't look any different, but when I put my mouse over, oh, I guess I screwed that up, but I'll fix it. Now it comes up and it says the best place to find more information about Mozilla's mission and how to contribute. Let's quickly just fix up, because I kind of balled it up there. So let's see. Yep. I believe that now it's okay. Let's look. Now again it says Mozilla homepage, and I get my title under there, and it opens it up in a new window. Everything's hunky-dory. All right. It says a link title is only revealed on mouse hover, which means people relying on keyboard controls or touchscreens will have difficulty accessing this information. If the title is truly important, you should present it in a manner that will be accessible to all users. For example, putting a link in your regular text. Okay. All right. Active learning, creating your own example link. We've already done this, so I'm not going to run through that. Okay. All right, block level links. As mentioned before, almost any content can be made into a link, even block levels. So in other words, the A tag itself is an inline element. This is an inline element, but we are putting, in this case, a block level element inside of our inline element, which typically isn't the way it's done. Notice you will find out more about using images on the web in a future article. So we'll come back and revisit that again later. All right, a quick primer on URLs and paths. Well, notice if I come in here and I type in rankin.edu, all right, and I click over here, the full path to this is https://rankin.edu. Okay, if I click on, let's say, locations, now notice the path is rankin.edu/locations. Now, this is the full path to the Rankin website. When I put something like this in there, what I'm saying is from the full path, go to the locations page, which is exactly what that's doing. All right, now that may or may not make total sense to you, and if it doesn't right now, please don't let that bother you, because we'll be going over stuff like this. So a URL is a uniform resource locator. All right, as it says, it's a string of text that defines where something lives or is located on the web, and they give an example. URLs use paths to find files. All right, it says, let's look at an example. See the creating hyperlinks directory. So we are in this directory right here. The root of the directory is creating hyperlinks. Inside, we've got a PDFs folder, a projects folder. Inside of the PDFs folder, we've got a project brief.pdf. Inside of the projects folder, we've got index.html. Plus, we've got two files that aren't in any folder, so they're right directly under the creating hyperlinks folder. Those are contacts.html and index.html. It's pretty much what they explain in here, I believe. So as mentioned here, if you wanted to include a hyperlink inside of index.html, that pointed to context.html, you could do it like this. If you want to move down a directory, so here, if I wanted to move from my index.html to my projects.html, I'd have to let it know where it lives. So I'm saying from where I am, go to projects, index.html, kind of the same way when we went to the locations. Okay? And sometimes these things can be very complex. If you want to move up a level, it's 2 dots followed by a slash. If you want to show the current level, it's 1 dot followed by the slash. Okay? As mentioned here, it's also possible to link to a specific part of an HTML document, also known as a document fragment. To do this, you have to assign an ID attribute to the element you want to link to. Well, let's see if we can do this. All right, so we'll grab this. I'll change it around a little bit, but just so you can see what's going on. So let's see what's down at the bottom here. This date and time, right? So let's do that. So I'm going to put an H2 here, and I'm going to say, just call it date time. And it will say date and time shown below. Okay, no biggie. All right, so again, it was called date time. Then we have to jump back into here. And it says to link to that specific ID, you'll want to put it in something like this. So let's just grab this. And we'll come up to here and we'll go to the top of our screen before we've got right underneath our home page thing. So before that link and everything we just put in. All right. And we'll say click to see the, I don't want T-head in there, to see the, and this is going to say the name of our page, which is index.html, and then the pound sign, date time, because that's what we called it. And we'll put in here date and time. All right, let's see if it works. So click to see the date and time. I click here, it jumped me down to the bottom of the page. And there it is. What if I want to go in the other direction? So let's do this. All right, and we're going to call this an AD. We're just going to call this top. And we'll put in here top of page. Oh, not taupe, top. And I'm going to come up here, and where I've got this A1, I'm going to put in here ID equals top. Okay. And we'll change this to go to yeah, I'm just going to leave it the way it was. I kind of like it like this. We'll leave it to go to top of page, like that. I don't know if I did this right or not, but we're going to find out quickly. Go to top of page. Well, it doesn't like the way I did it. So first of all, let's not make it an H2. Let's make it a paragraph, because that would look better. P. All right, I think this thing to the top of the page, we want that up here, and that is actually correct. We want to grab this. So go to this will become top. I think that'll work a little nicer. So save. Let's go look at this. All right, go to the top of the page. And there I am. So I can jump down to the bottom, and now I can jump back up to the top. So what did we do there to make this work? Well, we had to reference the page we were on, and that might work even without this. I'm going to try it like that because it is the current page. So I want to see if that works like that. And it still does. I didn't think you needed to put the name of the page on there. So in much the same way, I believe that this will work if we just do this. But here we wanted to jump down, and now we want to jump back up. So we're telling it here to jump, when we click this link, to jump up to the ID of top, which we set in our H1 tag right there at the top of the program. So it is a quick way that you can iterate your way around the pages in a site. Now, the question oftentimes gets asked, can you do that and jump into somebody else's site? No, unless they've already got an ID to where you want to jump to. If it's your own website, you can set it up so that you can jump to different parts of different pages, etc. So again, that's a document fragment. Absolute versus relative URL. An absolute URL starts with the name of the protocol. HTTP for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTPS for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, FTP for File Transfer Protocol, etc. A relative URL points to where you are relative to where you're going from. So in other words, if you're here and you wanted to go here, all right, this is where you use a lot of the dot and dot dot type of structures, okay? All right, the link best practices I already showed you. Here's a good link, download Firefox. Here's a bad link, click here. Don't do that. Other tips. Don't repeat the URL as part of the link text. URLs look ugly and sound even uglier when a screen reader reads them out letter by letter. Don't say link or links to. They already know that's what it is. Keep your link text as short and succinct as possible. Minimize instances where multiple copies of the same text are linked to in different places. All right. Use relative links wherever you can. It's just faster for the system to find out where to go from where they currently are. So it's easier to scan the code and it's more efficient. Okay. Linking to non-HTML resources. It says when linking to a resource that will be downloaded, for instance, if you had done your portfolio and you wanted to link to either a PDF or a Word copy of your resume, okay, it says you should add clear wording to avoid any confusion. Things like this, download sales report, or for us, it would be like download resume. Okay. Use the download attribute when linking to a download. When you are linking to a resource that's to be downloaded rather than opened, you can use the download attribute to provide a default save file name. All right, so this will automatically save it to this name. Again, quite often making things as simple as possible for your user to use is going to help you in the long run. All right. So here they're talking about creating this navigation menu that's going to look like this. Guess what? We've already done this. So going back to our document, And I'm just about finished, so I'll run over by a minute or so. But going back to our document, that's what we had up on the top here. Now, later when we get into the CSS section, we'll format this so it looks a lot nicer. All right. Email links. If you want to link to someone's email, you use mail to. All right. And again, don't put in click here type of things, but I might say something like send Jeff Scott an email. And I might have Jeff Scott, for example, in here, but it would be mail to : jpscott@rankin.edu type of thing. All right. Specifying details. In addition to the email address, you can add more information. I would say if you want to find out more about this, take a look, as it says, over the sample mail to URLs that they have out here on the system. So, now finished creating hyperlinks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to jump into advanced text formatting when I come back.